Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and I'm joined with my friend Mark Olroyd, where we are going to be looking at the hottest, actually the biggest sales of the week from Heritage Auctions. We kind of took a 1 week off where we were looking at our predictions, some better than others. I think actually Mark really won
I think
based
I
on
probably did.
success rate. Yeah, success rate. I won maybe on dollar amount,
Yeah.
but it was a pretty hard win on either end. But this week we're going to look at some pretty big books, pretty big sales too. So hopefully there's some wins for the general market. So let's see how the market's performing, Mark.
Ooh, hang on. What's that? That's not what we want. That's what we want.
Oh yeah, we'll start with some cool book. So this is I don't usually show many restored books, do I, on this
No, not many.
on the Silver Age? Because it's more of a golden age thing. Like, I mean, there are obviously restored books in the Silver Age and later ages, but I usually associate it more with golden age because passage of time kind of destroys all things. Um, but and most people, there's just so many Silver Age that you don't necessarily have to buy a restored copy. But this is a pretty hard book to get, to tell you the truth. This is the first appearance of the Legion of Superheroes, and getting this book in any grade is actually a big deal. So, yeah. So this was a high grade restored book. What does it say? Restoration?
It says restoration includes small amount of color touch or
okay, so this is a slight A1. Just
yeah.
quickly to explain what that means. A is the highest quality of restoration. It means that it's done by a professional. 1 means that it's very, very minor in level of restoration. So that's actually, barely a restored book, basically.
I mean, it looks great, doesn't it? You can tell it's been done by. I can't see any of that work that's been done.
Yeah.
It looks unrestored to me. So whoever's done that has done a very good job, and it looks better than a 6.5, really.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
I mean, there's a bit of something there, and
maybe something in that corner there, a little bit of like fading.
I mean, the corners are a bit rounded, but you don't. There's something on Batman, on Superman's cape as well around here.
Okay, so a little bit, here a little bit of scuffing, I guess, maybe. I don't know what that would be, but or fading. But yeah, I mean, it's very nice presenting 6.5 restored copy and had a pretty big sale. So let's see. Okay, so it sold for 1,920.
So it's a 6.5 and it sold for 1,920. So let's have a look, see what Go Collect says. Well, it's the only restored 6.5 that's ever sold, so it's a record.
Yeah, well, okay, so that's good. That's a good way to start a record.
Can we see what a non-restored 6.5 goes for?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what you should expect it to go for based on the.
You tell us first, and then I'll have a look.
Usually, in this grade level, maybe between 50 and 60%.
Okay, so we
on
would
the high side,
about 3,000 or something, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a lot higher than that. So this sells for 7,000 unrestored. So yeah, 50%. Yeah, no, 1.9. It's less than 50%.
Yeah. So maybe even 40%.
Yeah. Yeah. About
the
40%.
thing is, I'm thinking Silver Age, Golden Age versus Silver. It's like slightly less valuable for restored in Silver.
Yeah, I mean, the higher grade you get, the more knock you get from being restored.
Yeah. It might be as much as 40% down, actually. So 40% of the price. So what would 40% of 5,000 be? Roughly 2,000. So a little bit under what you'd expect it to sell for, actually.
Yeah, except the fair market value of this at 6.5 is 7,000, not five.
Oh, I thought you said five.
No,
Wow.
seven.
So this was a steal then.
Yeah, so it's almost like 33%, something like that.
Wow. Wow. That's really
I
that's
think
actually that's
I
very
think somebody's
surprising.
got a good buy there,
You
especially
know, yeah,
with how
especially
good that copy looks.
yeah, you know what's funny? Heritage auctions is a good place to buy restored books. Because they're a bit snobby. They with restored books. You know, they kind of like I picked up some pretty great restored books from Heritage where I was expecting the price to go much higher, but because they were restored, you know, they will, you know, it's the type of people that go to Heritage generally go for the bigger books, you
Yeah,
know, with in the blue label, right?
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, interesting. So that was a bit of a that's a bit of a steal.
I think that's a very nice buy. I mean, it's a great comic. It's a key DC comic, um,
Mhm.
and it looks fantastic. I mean, it looks better than the 6.5 to me, and you can't
So
see the restoration at all.
so Adventure Comics number 247 from 1958.
Yeah, 1958. Yeah, it's older than me.
So
Right.
great book.
Okay, next one up is another great one, Justice League America 21. I've got two copies of this. This is from 1963.
Yeah, this is a very big key. Not many people realize how big of a key this
This
is.
is a
It's
big,
got a whole bunch of first Silver Age appearances.
yeah. First Silver Age appearance of Hawkman, Doctor Fate, Icicle, and Wizard.
Hmm. So yeah, this is a really high grade. Mine, I have this book, but mine's pretty beaten looking. It's like
Yeah, and
a
it's, you know,
maybe VG or
The
50.
JLA meet the Justice Society. The JLA meet the JSA.
Yeah, it's sort of that crossover between the two different generations.
Yeah, yeah, great cover. Who's the artist on
Hmm.
this? Garden of Fox.
And actually, it's a white pager
Mike
too.
Sikowski cover art.
Oh, Mike Scassi. Okay, yeah, I just saw him on some other book I was looking at just recently. So yeah, a white pager too, 9.2
Well,
white
nine
pager.
two. There's
So
not going to be many 9.2s of this around. Look at it.
yeah,
It's a corker.
yeah. Oh, that's an interesting expression, corker. That's
Right. Okay. Um, let's see how much this went for. I think it went for 2,000. That sounds low to me for a 9.2 of this.
yeah, it sounded a bit low to me too for the grade, like just for the grade kind of thing. But let's see how it did.
Actually, it's
But
not.
remember, it's
It's
DC.
actually a record.
Okay, what
Oh,
was
wait
that?
a minute.
But that
Yeah,
no, that's
it is a record in terms of
it
that.
is a record.
Yeah, yeah.
So DC books like are always underrated in terms of value. I think it's so funny. Like, you know, if this was a Marvel book,
Oh, if this was Fantastic Four or a Spider Man or a, you know, it just be
yeah,
this would
it
be,
would be like, you know, 10 times that, you know. And
yeah.
look at the census count. Like the census count's really low comparatively to like Marvel
Yes,
as well. It's like
758. I mean, this is a genuinely rare book. In a 9.2, how many are there? In 9.2, there's let's do the overview. There's 50,
10,
there's a 60,
15.
18 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, so not many. Like, wow. You
Yeah,
know, where
there's
you look
no
at a
nine
Marvel
sixes
book
at
and
all. So there's
yeah,
only 17 higher graded.
yeah. If this was a Marvel book, there would be like 3,000 copies and wow. So yeah, at least you know it's another record. So we're 2 for 2, by the way.
Well, yes. Well, the first one I think was
In
a low
theory.
in theory,
Yeah,
but
in
yeah.
theory.
Um, but that's a nice DC key holding its
And
value.
And the way I created this list is actually quite interesting. All I did was I said, okay, let's look at the biggest sales. Like these are the highest numbers for this auction. There was a lot of other books
Yeah.
that I could have chosen, but I chose these
Okay.
based
Let's.
on that.
We
So
liked
that's
that
cool.
one. Let's move on. Oh, another classic.
This is a classic. So you know what was funny? The auction didn't have AF-15. There
Thank
was no
goodness.
AF-15 this week. So that was interesting. Um,
Nobody's getting a
so
decent
this is
price for them. That's the problem. Right.
yeah.
So
This
lovely.
one's actually got nice colors, by the way.
Yeah, it's got nice
Um
colours. I mean, it's a 3.0, but it's
3.0.
you say the colours are bright.
Yeah.
It's got a few creases and things.
The
Colour,
green is dark
bit of a
green there,
tear
and
down
it's quite
here.
nice.
The
Yeah.
colours are nice. It hasn't faded at all, or hardly.
Yeah, so that's first appearance of Daredevil, Foggy Nielsen, and what's the girl's name? Betty
Oh, I can never remember a name.
ah
It
whatever
does,
it is.
it does say it down here. Karen Page.
Karen Page. Karen Page. You know why I said Betty?
Betty Page.
Yeah. See? I have,
You wish. You just wish Betty
yeah,
Page was in Daredevil. Right.
yeah.
Uh, so that's $2,100 for the 3.0. I'm not sure about this one. I don't know if this will be up or down. That sounds
That sounds a little low, actually.
a little low. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Oh,
I remember this,
okay.
but
Uh,
it's still higher than ignore the COVID bump, okay? Like we gotta
yeah,
start
we know
it's
this
way above that
this comic
trend
was
line.
undervalued for years, and then it suddenly went loopy, and it's now come back, and it's settled above where it was. It's settled because that sale is higher than the previous sale. So
Yeah,
I think
it's way
that's
above the trend line.
way above the trend line. Yeah, yeah. And we've got the
Um,
Daredevil TV series at some stage coming.
yeah, coming up soon.
So yeah, I think that's reasonable. Yeah.
So I mean, that was it's a strong sale, but not record breaking. But
No,
this is one of those books that you can't really say, oh, we can't expect a record for
no, but
another
it
10
is a
years
sale
probably.
that suggests we've reached the bottom.
Yeah, and it's actually a bit of a bounce back. Like, what's the previous sale to it?
2.4,
Okay,
2.7. So there's a bit of a bounce back.
yeah, that's not too bad.
Okay.
But I think because it has such great colors, it's going to get a little bit more value.
Yeah, I think so. It does look good.
Mhm.
Right. And our fourth book. Oh, well, there we go, Alan.
Now this is a big one, really
Big
high
one.
grade too.
And it is a nice, it's a beautiful book. Alan and I have got this in much lower grades.
Much lower grades.
Alan's is severely color damaged.
Yes.
Um, yeah, brilliant. Origin of the Silver Surfer, Tales of the Watcher begins. Origin of the Watchers.
Yeah. So a
Um,
lot of cool things for this.
and it's
I
a
mean, it's Origin of the Silver Surfer.
copy,
That's the big thing.
cracking looking copy. It's an 8.5.
Classic cover too.
Yeah. Now, Alan, I
Right.
have to tell you, this was one of my potential spec comics for next year. Now,
Oh, so this will
I
determine.
did look at having this one, but I turned it down for a different one. I'm not going to tell you which until we do our specs for next year. But
So the spec
yeah,
video that we're going to,
I
yeah,
know this is down. So
yeah. So the spec video is going to come out next week.
yeah,
So for all the people that are watching this week, we're going to actually predict the spec, what we think are going to be the hottest comics a year away. Not the hottest, but ones that are good investments.
yeah, and given that we actually outperformed the market significantly last year, you probably should
Yeah,
take a look.
yeah,
Right.
worth taking a look.
Okay. I think this is down. Yeah.
I would say so too, but actually not so down, not too
No.
bad.
Again, you could argue it's on the trend.
Yep.
Um,
Um,
but this
what was the peak for this book? It was like
6.2, so it's nearly half.
wow.
Yeah. Which was why I had it as a potential for a spec comic for next year, because this is a key comic. Silver Surfer #1 down 50%, although and probably only just on the trend line as well. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to fall further. I think that's done its falling.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I actually looked at this book too. You'll notice one of my picks was kind of related to this book.
Yeah.
And I actually almost picked this book, but then I looked at the line and I thought, has a little bit more room to go down, or it would hold its value. And I kind of wanted something that has that room to go up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think, it's at the floor kind of almost. I would say it's a little bit above the
I
floor.
think this. I don't think that's going to fall much further. And
Yeah.
also, with the Fantastic Four stuff and the Silver Surfer potentially, arriving in the MCU sometime in the next few years,
Hmm.
I think this is a good buy.
Definitely. Definitely.
Right, interesting one. And one, two, three, four, one more.
One
Oh,
more.
yeah, and here we go.
Yeah. This is the highest grade, right? You get like a
Yeah,
9.8.
you don't think there's an 9.9 of this.
No.
And
This is actually the first cover appearance.
it is the first cover appearance of Gwen Stacy.
Yeah. And it's a bondage cover
Whatever
for
term.
all the Golden Age fans out there. Um,
Now, do you know the second part of that quote, Alan? Oh, what a tangled web we weave.
when we something to deceive.
Yes,
When
first we practice to deceive.
we practice to deceive, yes. And that's a Shakespeare thing.
It is, yeah.
It's from the witches, right? The
I
witches
think
said
it
it, I
is the
believe.
Three Witches, and Stan was particularly fond of a bit of Shakespeare.
Hmm. So yeah,
There we go.
really great
Nice
cover,
comic.
actually.
A 9.8 of that. There can't be many of those. How many did you think there are of 9.8s of this, Alan?
I'm going to guess 5.
I'm going to go higher because I think this was quite heavily printed. It was a successful comic. I'm going to go
Hmm.
15.
Okay.
How many? There's 22 of them. Yeah, so I was.
We're way off. That's the problem with Marvel had so many
Oh, not
copies
well. I
before.
said 15. That's not hugely well.
No, you did better. I always
Right.
I always
This has had
underestimate.
a woo. Right.
This one's actually has a very weird trend line.
It does
It's
have
not much of a doesn't sell very often. Kind of all over the place.
COVID peak 8.7, last sale 3. So this is less than 50% of its. I
Peak.
think this is not a bad spec comic either, to be honest with you.
The only problem is she's dead.
Gwen Stacy.
In the Gwen Stacy in the she died.
Yeah, she did, but there's a Spider Gwen is one of the most popular characters in.
I know, I get that. But you know what's weird? I said, oh, the one with the spider on the, and she's not
Yeah,
on the cover, but
yeah,
her
yeah.
first appearance. I said, oh, Gwen Stacy, really great popular character. I showed that book as a key book to pick up. And people were like, oh, that's not her first appearance. That's not a cool book. They wanted the Edge of the Spider-Verse one. I'm like, it's the same character. But so, it's, yeah, I don't know. Some people. Okay.
Generation.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
yes, it's a different generation.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. There's not what on earth can you say from that trend chart? Not much.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. I would say based on take out that one peak sale,
Yeah.
it's kind of like flat.
Yeah.
If you took out that one little point,
yeah, it's flat.
it's just like a flat line.
It's like a flat line, yeah, for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because it's a key comic.
Yeah, it's a cool book. I mean, very cool book.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, that's the 5. That's the 5 from my list.
5, Alan, yeah.
And the list, actually, the next 5, I think will surprise most people. I really do. I think there's some really interesting books that you have to go over to Mark's channel to watch. You got to go watch the second part. There will be a link to Mark's channel in the description. Go click it, go over to Mark's channel, go over there and watch the second part because it's going to be cool. Okay, well, thank you, Mark. Bye for now.
Bye.